Hello YouTube, this is RaPsCaLLion. With the update to the multi-item sorter now being hopper speed, I figured I'd better take a look at the box sorter that I made to see if we can get it operating at the same level. It wouldn't make sense to connect things together like a box sorter that operates at half hopper speed that then feeds into your multi-item sorter if it can actually operate faster. So I took a couple stabs at upgrading my box sorter, and I've got some pretty cool designs here that I'm going to share with you today. So right here is my first attempt, and it works. We've got it operating at hopper speed. We've got a system to feed in the boxes here that will allow it to suck one item out, send it down this line, break the box, and send the box down the secondary line. This one's using, a clock here to continually pump shulkers if that slice has been activated, and it breaks them and feeds them down into the system. What it's using is a clock set up here that kind of pulls an observer up and pushes one down, and then it starts firing the clock. I'm doing that to avoid a double tick so we don't pump things twice if a single shulker goes through. So it works, it's pretty compact, but this was just my first attempt. Let's see how this thing actually works. So we've got a good variety of different shulker boxes here. Different orders. We've got some repeating, we get some alternating. It'll work in all of those cases. So let's just pop that on here. So you see the hopper speed up top. These are just standard item filters here. You see it breaking and replacing the item in the same tick. So nothing gets sucked out here. We are recombining the item with the box in each of the slices, and the box falls into its proper slice. There, we're all done. So we should be able to go down here, and in my little display, get a box of each type. And you'll see that they are completely full. There was nothing in here before I started actually too. I should have shown that. But you'll see that it's got the same number of items across each of these dropper or dispensers, and nothing else in any of this. So all of those boxes went down in. So if we were to do it again, you'll see that it'll fill up into this barrel here, which we can do because it doesn't take too long. I'll even place the chests in just a different order to see that we get a different ordering of boxes. This design would be in 1.15 because we are using honey blocks, and I think we have to use a system that uses the pistons to push something down here. Otherwise, it would make the system a lot bulkier to operate any other way, I think. There, so that's done already. You should see here into those barrels. So everything is sorted out properly. This display of mine is just a simple display. I like it quite a bit because it's flush with the wall here, and it's simply triggered by these note blocks. And it pulls the note block back and replaces it so that when the shulker's placed, it's accessible. So that's just my little preference. I did make a secondary one here if anyone was interested. This one is not flush with the wall. Shulker's still accessible, but it drops the box out into a hopper line to be handled somewhere else. The nice thing about this one is if you want a full box, you can just dispense it and pick it up and take it. And if you've emptied a box and you want to switch it out, just throw your box in your sorter and have it go back into whatever slice you need it to go into. Anyway, this first attempt was pretty bulky. I figured I could try and get it down a little bit more. So this is my second attempt here. And still using this piston setup, I realized that I don't necessarily need to have a clock that's firing, because if I can trigger the filter to release more quickly, this will actually act as a clock itself. So for every item coming through within the same slice, this will pump for every item. So that gives us our clock right there. And that'll let us trigger the dropper and dispenser combo, dropper dispenser combo. So it's firing up top here, powering this block, which is quasi-powering both of these, and then reads into the piston here. So let's do that same setup here. Again, I don't have anything in the chests to start off with, but there you can see that it's already filtering for all those items. So I still wasn't satisfied with this design, still being larger than I wanted it to be, still using quite a few hoppers and components. So my third attempt ended up being the most compact. We're now 6 by 7, not including the collection chest at the bottom, but including the composter on top. One wide tileable hopper speed shulker box sorter. Um, there's not much going on here. It's that same piston filter clock. We're still using honey blocks and slime blocks here, and we're recombining the item and putting it into the chest. So let's fire it just to make sure that it works. Oops. One of those boxes went in, that's fine, because it sorts it at hopper speed. So there's all our cobblestone, diamonds, emeralds, and our redstone. Every box is full. Same here. Every box is full. And nothing gets left over except for in each of these hoppers below the filter, you're going to have one item stored, and each of these hoppers behind the dispenser will have one box stored. So there is one buffer per slice. And again, if you're storing shulker boxes full of items, you typically have more than enough to spare. That one box isn't necessarily a problem. So with this one, satisfied with how compact it is, but not satisfied with the lag that it creates, because we've got, even if it's blocked with a composter, it's still going to create lag, each of these hoppers. And this hopper is wide open. This hopper is wide open. This one is locked, but this hopper is open as well too. So I figured let's try and reduce the lag for the system and see what we can come up with. And this was the final design, a little bit larger, which is fine because we're trying to lock all the things that are causing problems with lag. So this hopper now, we're not using the hopper chains to feed the system. We're going to use a dropper chain, and the filter hopper itself is locked. The hopper just below that is locked here. The collection hopper is locked from this same system at the front here, and the hopper behind was always locked because it needed to be locked. So now I think we're 7 by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's including the dropper chain at the top here and the observers. There's only 2 redstone dust per slice, and yeah, I think this is probably the most lag effective hopper speed box sorter that you're going to find for the size that it is. Let's just make sure everything's empty here, and we will fire this up. There, so you saw that these hoppers have now unlocked, and it's firing everything through. There we go, should be done. Everything retracts, and there, we've got all our cobblestone, all of our diamonds, all of our emeralds, and all of our redstone. The feed system that I used here is a little bit more complex than some of the other ones. Like in the most compact, it's really just, it's the clock to place and break the shulkers, and then a couple hoppers to feed into it. This one you need to time things a bit better because of the dropper chains, and you need to quickly fire these pistons so that it unlocks quickly, but then hold it a little bit longer so that it locks again after a couple seconds. So we've got a bit of a timeout circuit here that's fired when it starts, and it's held on for a bit after it ends. So, I bet someone could figure out a better system to feed this thing, but really the important part is the setup for the box sorter itself. So that should be useful for a lot of people. The one thing that I'll mention to everyone now, then, the downside for every one of these box sorters is that they're directional. They're only going to work if they're built north-south. So as long as the system's north, south in that direction, it will work. If we're going east, west, not at all. The problem is in the update order of the droppers and the dispensers. So when we're set up in this configuration going east-west, it's not going to fire in the right order to recombine the item and break the box. So if I went through each of these here, just make sure they're all empty. I don't think that'll have one in there. Okay, so we're going to lose one. We'll lose one box. Oops. Let's leave it like that. I think that's fine. And everything else is set up the same. Yeah, so it's this dispenser dropper combo. We'll feed the east-west system here. There, and you'll already see the boxes are flying all over the place. Items are popping through. None of this works at all. Like, not even a little bit work. Like, that's filling up with diamonds. It's all over the place. So completely unreliable if you're building east-west. If you just reverse it, so if you do a 180 on the design, so instead of south to north, you're going north to south, the system still works. So this will be fine. And we'll feed it just to show. Works just fine. There you go. All your items coming through as they should. So it just means if you're going to build a hall of shulker box sorters, make sure you're doing it in the north-south, south-north direction. And if you want to go down a hall, you go on one side and the other, just not in a box-shaped room. So yeah, that it's a downside. It's a, you know, it's a personal opinion, personal preference on whether it's acceptable or not. I'm okay with it being directional because for either the size that you want to achieve with the system or the size and the lag effectiveness you want to achieve with the system, I don't think there's a better box sorter out there. Anyway, I think that's it for today, YouTube. This is a nice addition to a hopper speed sorting system, and it'll connect well with the multi-item sorter if you want to have a bit of bulk storage and some of your more easily accessible storage with the item sorter itself. And yeah, I'd love to hear your comments on whether directionality is acceptable or not. And I'll have another video coming up sooner than later to showcase a super smelter that I've built as well too, and then we'll see what systems that I'll add to next year. Anyway, thanks again, YouTube, and have a great day.